Good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is our March 13th regular business meeting of the Mason County Commission. We will begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Cindy Tickner, would you do us the honor, please, of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Terry Drexler.
Here.
Thank you. Item number 4 is correspondence and organizational business. Do we have correspondence to come before the commission, please?
Yes. So the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent a notification of pending marijuana extraction operation for Hazy Days at 1982 Northeast Old Belfair Highway in Belfair. Mason County Community Services sent an objection letter regarding a marijuana license for I-502 Gardens, LLC at 1069 West Camilche Lane in Shelton. And Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in 2 liquor license applications, the first for Little Creek Casino and Resort Event Center, and the second for Taylortown Store.
Excellent. Thank you. Item number 4.2 is a news release, 2018 requirements for development permit applications. Dave Wyndham. Oh, no.
Good morning, Commissioners. Christopher Nelson, Permanent Assistant Center Manager. This news release is regards to the 28 requirements for development permit applications, and it'll read as such. Mason County's Permanent Assistance Center has recently updated the development permit application requirements in response to upcoming changes in technology. These changes are designed to align industry code requirements. A new residential submittal checklist has been created to aid potential homeowners, builders, and design professionals on what is required prior to the county's acceptance of the development application. Current applications and design professionals are encouraged to review this new checklist immediately to confirm timely processing. Starting the 1st of April, any incomplete or omission on the submittal checklist will not allow applications to be accepted by the department. Permitted applications and development requirements can be found on the new county website, updated on the website at www.co.mason.wa.us. Updated applications state new next to their title, and any questions, please contact the Permanent Assistance Center at 360-427-9670, extension 352. I do have some copies of those if you're interested. I brought those with me, anybody.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is there any other correspondence or organizational business to come before this commission? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 5. Item number 5 is our open forum for citizens' input. This is your opportunity to speak to the commission in regards to any issue that is not on the agenda. If it is on the agenda, we ask that you wait until it comes up at that time. You'll be given an opportunity to ask questions or testify at this point if that's what you wish to do. But if it's not on the agenda, this is your opportunity to speak to the commission. You will have up to 5 minutes per person. 15 minutes is the total for everybody, so we ask you to please be brief. And remember, we treat each other with respect. With that being said, is there anybody who would like to speak to the commission on an item that is not on the agenda today? Please.
Good morning, Commissioners. I would like to say that the League of Women Voters is hosting a, I guess it would be called a forum, I'm not sure, called Making Democracy Work. It's tonight at 6 p.m. at the library, at the Shelton Library, Making Democracy Work. So I'm not really sure how it's going to work because it's kind of our first time we've done it, but I think it's going to be kind of like a Civics 101 lesson. So if anybody's interested, that's what we're doing tonight. Thank you.
I wish I could be there, but I have another meeting down south. But
Okay.
is there anybody else who'd like to speak on anything that's not on the agenda? Hearing nothing, we'll move forward to item number 6, which is the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move adoption of today's agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of today's agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Item number 7 is the approval of the minutes, and we have none, so we will move directly on to item number 8, which is the approval of the action agenda. All items listed under the action agenda may be enacted by one motion unless a commissioner or citizen requests that item be removed from the action agenda and considered as a separate item for a separate vote. We will read each of these items to you. You will be given an opportunity to consider them at that time. And then after we're done reading it, we will give you an opportunity to ask a question if you need, and an opportunity also to have it pulled off for a separate vote. With that being said, Commissioner Schutte, would you please read item number 8.1 and 8.2? Commissioner Drexler, would you read 3, 4, and 5, and I will read 6, 7, and 8.
Mr. Chair, item 8.1, approval of amendment number 2 of agreement number WQAIP-2016-MASNWB-00013 between the State of Washington Department of Ecology and Mason County Noxious Weed Control Board for the Spencer Lake Integrated Aquatic Vegetation Management Plan, and approval to have the chair sign the agreement. Item 8.2, approval to set a public hearing on March 27, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. to consider approval of the following supplemental appropriation and budget transfer requests to the 2018 budget. Supplemental request, $30,000 to current expense Parks and Trails for parks fees revenue 347.30.302000, and $30,000 to current expense Parks and Trails for salaries and benefits, various accounts. Budget transfers, $100,000 transfer from REIT 1, 350.300.594.12.5620000, capital projects, to $100,000 current expense facilities for salaries and benefits, 001.055, and various accounts. $70,000 transfer from REIT 2, 351, ending fund balance to $70,000 current expense Parks and Trails for salaries and benefits, 001.146, various accounts.
Item 8.3, approval of warrants and treasurer electronic remittances. Claims clearing fund warrants numbers 8054651 through 8054828, totaling $1,070,674.35. Direct deposit fund warrants 48276 through 48636, totaling $631,027.08. Salary clearing fund warrant 7003467 through 7003506, totaling $904,136.22. And treasurer electronic remittances for February 2018, $395,619.41. Item 8.4, approval to authorize the chair to execute the cooperative purchasing agreement between Mason County and Pacific County, extending the right to cooperatively purchase goods and/or services through one another through competitive bidding process. Item 8.5, approval to have the board reject the one bid received for the Russellwood Sewer Mainline Cured in Place Pipe, CIPP, project, and authorize Public Works to revise and re-advertise.
Thank you, Commissioners. Item number 8.6, approval of the resolution of intent to form a lake management district for Mason Lake LMD number 2 for a 10-year period commencing 2019 and setting a public hearing on Tuesday, April 17th, 2018 at 9:30 a.m. pursuant to RCW 36.61.030. Item number 8.7, approval to adopt the updated public records policy for Mason County by amending Resolution 23-12. Item number 8.8, approval to authorize ER&R to surplus certain vehicles and equipment and dispose of at the Washington State Surplus Sales and Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers Iron Planet. Now that these items have been read to you in the public, it is your opportunity now to ask a specific question, if you have one, that would help you to decide whether or not to have something taken off for a separate vote. Does anybody have a specific question? Yes.
Why were all these crossed out and then somebody put at the very end? Why are there line items through or lines?
Because we're not going to do those. We pulled them off the agenda, but it was a little late, so we actually X'd them out. So they're not on the agenda. The only things on the agenda are the pieces that are not.
I think I think you're looking for probably a little bit more. There was all the calculations were done, and there was some disagreements with some of the departments about how those calculations were done, about adding them in. So our budget staff will be meeting individually with the departments to show our math and go with them and get agreement on them is what we're shooting for.
But they won't be included in anything we're doing because we have to set a hearing for that at that time. Any other questions? Are there any items that you would like taken off for a separate vote?
Item 8.7, Mr. Chair, please.
Item number 8.7 will be removed for a separate vote. Are there any other items to remove for a separate vote? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the approval of the items on our action agenda with the exception of item 8.7.
And I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of all the items on our action agenda for approval except for item number 8.7, which will be removed for a separate discussion and vote. Is there any discussion? Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item number 8.7, approval to adopt the updated public records policy for Mason County by amending resolution number 23-12. Frank, would you like to?
Actually, I don't have that resolution in front of me.
Actually, Melissa might be able to speak to it.
Oh,
As our public records officer.
okay, Melissa?
Would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, what is, I don't,
Just-
question on it?
No,
or-
just to present it as one would for a hearing.
Sure. So, the public records policy has not been updated since 2012. Since then, there have been updates to the RCWs and also updates from the JLARC, excuse me, which is the Joint Legislative Committee, and there are new requirements necessary to move forward as such. So one of the main things that was updated in there is the fees, and then, of course, the RCWs as written.
Okay, thank you. Tom, do you have any specific questions, or would you like to testify?
No, I don't. I'd just like to have that for a separate vote, please.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for staff on our proposal? Hearing none, is there anybody who would like to testify on this issue? Hearing none? Okay. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the approval of item 8.7 to adopt the updated public records policy for Mason County by amending resolution 23-12.
And I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of the updating of the Mason County Public Records policy as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have time now, a lot of time between now and our 9:30. We're not allowed to start a public hearing. Are there any elected officials or department heads who would like to speak at this time? We don't have anybody we can take advantage of either. Would you like
Perhaps-
to go into calendars, or would you like to take a break, Commissioners?
I think I'm fine going into calendar.
I am as well,
Okay, would
See
you
where
like
we
to
are
start?
at the end of that.
having said that. Okay, last week following the commission meeting, spent a lot of time working to transfer over the accounting books for my church. I am retiring as the treasurer. Met with Scott Brewer of the Hood Canal Porting Council. Attended the Mason Transit Authority's Park and Ride intersection improvement recommendations and/or options up in Belfair, and heard some of the concerns from the community up there about some of the options that are put forward. And then had a meeting of the Executive Finance Committee of the Pacific Mountain Workforce Development Council. I also listened in on a Legislative Steering Committee call announcement or review of what the final legislature wins and losses were for the Washington State Association of Counties. Following today's meeting, I will be attending the Housing Coalition. I know Commissioner Netherland, you frequently do as well. And so I just wanted to make that public. There'll be a presentation by Ponza, which is the organization that was granted $3 million from the legislature to build tiny homes both here and in the Puyallup area. I will be attending the Pioneer Superintendent, a discussion with the community about the selection of the new superintendent for Pioneer School As you may or may not know, Marty Brewer took a new job up in the Port Angeles area. Wednesday, we'll be having a half-day retreat of the Olympic Region Clean Air Authority. We'll be meeting with staff on a resolution that the commission will be considering here in a vote regarding allocation of our mental health treatment tax. And then we'll have a joint meeting, the commission and the planning commission, about adopting a public benefit rating system for our open space program. We'll have a meeting Thursday of the Mason County Law Enforcement and Behavioral Health Group, and then a meeting of the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization. I'll be attending a roundtable discussion with the consultants hired by the City of Shelton for economic development purposes. And then I'll be setting up for and judging over the weekend the Rotary Science Fair project. And then I'll also be proudly watching my granddaughters perform at the Missoula Children's Theater. Performances on Saturday for Gulliver's Travel in Space. I don't know why they took that. My granddaughter's an alien, the other one's a robot. So not the Gulliver Travel I knew. And then we'll be back here for briefings on Monday.
Seems kind of like a psychedelic modern
It
twist
does,
on a
doesn't
it? A few items from last week. Had a conversation with City Commissioner Kevin Dorsey about some of the work they're doing in the city, and in particular on the tiny homes project that was funded, and looking forward to hearing more information about that, and hopefully we'll get a better idea today what's in the works, and that should be an interesting project for the city. Also attended the North Mason Opioid Coalition meeting last Wednesday. Again, just a lot of enthusiasm. I know Commissioner Netherland, you were there. A lot of enthusiasm around tackling this issue and bringing people together. I was also on the LSC Legislative Steering Committee session recap. As usual, there's always a mix of good and bad out of the legislature, and as the dust kind of settles on the 2018 session, we still have, our staff is working with the other offices here to determine what, if any, costs were handed down from the state legislature to the county, and so we get a better idea of the true cost of doing business on behalf of the state. So certainly we'll be hearing more from our auditor and treasurer, and we've heard a little bit from district court on legal financial obligations and those kinds of things. So certainly more to come on that. I also went on a ride-along Saturday evening with the Sheriff's Department, try to get out and do these quarterly, and Saturday was kind of an eventful evening in the county, and if you haven't seen the news stories, there was an accident involving one of our deputies out in the Union area, and so best wishes and a speedy recovery to Deputy Wood. And I can tell you, being having that experience and just watching our deputies, the rank and file was fantastic. They just got out and went to work, and they made the extraordinary look routine. And so I think my hat's off to them. It's a tough job for sure, and they definitely represented us well. And to Public Works, it was a one county kind of response. There was a road supervisor, I believe Brennan went out to help with the road closure and detour and all that. So hat tip to Public Works too, getting out there in the middle of the night and working as one county. So. Yeah. Looking ahead to this next coming week here, we have a MACECOM meeting. This MACECOM meeting this afternoon. Also be at the Joint Planning Commission Parks Advisory Board with the Commission this week. Also have a Washington State Association of Counties Strategic Communications meeting this week, as well as a Mason Transit Agenda meeting. I'll be meeting with Debbie Riley to talk a little bit about water quality work and funding around that, and how we continue to put together a program that would benefit the county, shellfish industry, recreation, getting all the stakeholders kind of involved in that. And then I will also be working with the cities as part of their roundtable. I don't know if I have a 4 o'clock time slot. I don't know if we're all at the same deal or not.
I was moved to 4:30 so that we wouldn't have a quorum.
Well, I can appreciate their sensitivity to that and helping work with us there. So Yeah, so looking forward to working with the city on that and giving them our insight as to how we can get our economy jump-started, and I think that'll be a productive conversation. So then back here Monday for briefings.
Okay. I had a ARC meeting, then I also attended that opioid stakeholder meeting for up north, and it is pretty impressive, the things that we've been able to put together. Thanks again to Bo Bakken for his leadership on doing that. We had our meeting up north in regards to the Mason Transit's park and ride that they're building up there, and the traffic changes that may occur. Very spirited, but as it usually is up north, and then it comes back around to where people were working a little bit better together. And I think the one thing that came to consensus was safety should take priority, which is a great place to end up. Let's see, I had a meeting with Dave Wyndham. We also met with the Economic Development Council meeting. Mr. Manley, who was here the last time. ARC had a retreat that I attended out at Clear Creek. We were blessed enough to have Senator Maria Cantwell come out to talk with some of our main stakeholders in regards to the opioid epidemic, what she's doing and what they're doing about it. And I want to tell you, our young man that we had here from our drug court, I invited him to come to that, and he rocked the show. He was very impressive, Jeremiah. He really made some sense to her, explained how things really go, not just how we think it is, and it was pretty impressive. I was very proud of him. Let's see, we have and again, we want to thank her for being here. Whenever our senators come here and get to know who we are and get to love our area, they'll pay more attention to us and help us further in the future. Briefings, and then I attended a Port Allen meeting as well. After this, I have a law library meeting. I will be attending the Housing Coalition meeting, the PTSA meeting. There's a meeting in Allen in regards to the Sergeant Oyster House. I'll be meeting with some constituents and Dave Wyndham. I'll be attending the joint meeting of the Parks Advisory and the PAC, as you guys will. The early learning meeting with Washington State University, the event they're having at the Colonial House. I will also be attending a home defense course that's being put on up in North Mason by Chief Sperling and Mike Dorsey. The Hub, our senior center up north, is having their St. Patty's Day dinner. I will be emceeing that. So if you want some great food, come on out. It's always wonderful there. They have a food and fellowship, and that brings us back to our briefings and back to our regular commission meeting. Okay, so yes.
Mr. Chair, so the early learning, I have that for May 17th.
Yeah, for May 17th?
Yeah, I don't want you to.
I don't want to be there if it's not.
Get a good parking spot, but.
Okay, we'll check that out. Okay, if it is this, we'll both be there then if
Yeah.
it is, and if it's not, then we won't.
We're really announcing that one ahead of
Yeah.
time, aren't we?
Okay, anybody have anything else they want to add? Because we still have 6.5 minutes to kill before we can go into the hearing. Okay, then why don't we take a brief intermission for 6.5 minutes, and we will come back at 9:30. Okay, we're going to bring this meeting back to order, and we are moving forward into our hearing. We have a public hearing to consider a private line occupancy permit to install an underground septic transport line and power underneath West Nowatzel Beach Drive. And you are not John, he's just so. Loretta?
I am not. Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, so this is a hearing for a private line occupancy permit. And the Vegans are making some improvements to their waterfront property. And as part of that improvement project, they will be relocating their drain field onto the other side of the road and further away from the lake. And I think there was also another, to also increase the setback from the existing well. So there are two great benefits to this: better protection for the lake and of course better protection for their drinking water supply. So as part of that process, we issue a permit for work under our right-of-way and basically give them a grant that allows for their utility to be located under the right-of-way. And we are recommending approval of this permit. And happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Just out of curiosity, do you know if most of the waterfront owners have lands on the other side of the Wattsville Beach Drive?
That is a good question, Commissioner, and this is an unusual case. It's a little bit different from what you normally see. Actually, the Fegans do not have property across the road and worked with the neighboring property owner to acquire an easement
Oh.
to make those improvements.
Wow.
And so as part of this, yeah, it was actually a great example of neighbors working together.
Okay.
And so we needed to make sure that there was a recorded easement granting the right, and all of that paperwork is in place as well.
Okay.
I have the same thing on one of my parcels on the South Shore. It's within a house.
Okay. Interesting.
Any other questions for staff? Anybody in the audience have a question for staff?
Do you dig across the road, or do you
Push.
push? Okay, the old compressor trick.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Conlon.
Any further questions for staff? Thank you, staff. Is there anybody who, so we'll close that portion. Is there anybody who would like to testify? Hearing none, we'll move into commissioner deliberations. Commissioners?
Well, as I was discussing during our break with both the property owners and Loretta, it's always a good thing when you take these utilities and put them further away from the water. And I love the idea. I didn't realize that we were also helping your wellhead protection area too. That's very important. I would be obviously voting in favor of this, but I also just wanted to bring up for discussion, we were talking on the break that in the 6 years that I've sat in this seat, never had an objection to any of these private line occupancy permits. And Loretta said that she would take a look through the code, the state code, and see if there's an administrative decision option with an appeal to the commission should somebody object. But I don't think in my time here we've ever had an objection.
Mr. Loudon,
Oh, okay,
I believe, had one.
okay.
That was when we first started, but
Okay,
Kind of as long as you maintain the right to appeal.
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, for myself, these things are no-brainers for us. Moving septics and such away from the water, that's, the more distance you put between it, the better chance you can overcome any type of failure that does happen for everybody involved. I would like to see us look at the different options to do it, because although people may have objections, when it was over with, the objection was more just, are we giving special privilege to somebody at the time? And we weren't. This is something we all look forward to doing, and I think it was basically just let go at that. And that was the only one that I can remember in the years that I've been here. And I'm about, what, a month shorter than you, so. Yeah. Commissioner?
Well, appreciate you coming forward with this, and certainly be supporting it too. You live in a beautiful part of the county, that's for sure. And so this is, certainly appreciate you taking steps to preserve and protect it.
Hearing nothing further, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the private line occupancy permit granting permission to run a septic transport line and power under the Wattsville Beach Drive for parcel 52004-50-000414.
Second?
Moved and seconded for the approval. Let me get the proper thing for you here. For the approval of the private line occupancy permit granting permission to run a septic transport line and power under the Wattsville Beach Drive for parcel number 52004-50-000014. That's moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Hearing is closed. Do we have anything further? We're at the end of our agenda.
I don't.
Well, hearing no objection, we will adjourn.
Okay.
We are
Thank you.
adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck on your project. I hope it all goes well.